By day, Gannicus is the most fierce and powerful gladiator in the arena, but at night, he's forced to entertain noble men.
Impressive.
However, the perverted nobleman doesn't plan to experience it himself, but rather watch Gannicus perform with female slave. Gannicus is forced to couple with his best friend's wife Melita in public, observed by others as if they're watching animals mate. This is the sad, helpless reality of slaves in ancient Rome. Gaia, the alluring Roman socialite, watches the gladiator training from the balcony as usual. The morning air is filled with the clashing of weapons and the strong scent of male hormones. Her gaze is quickly drawn to the new slave Crixus, not for his wild fighting style, but for the impressive outline visible beneath his loincloth.
The Gaul is quite the beast.
Gaia's mind wanders, her blatant flirting making two young naive slave girls blush. Compared to these virile gladiators, their master Quintus seems worn out. Yesterday, he used his ace Gannicus to defeat his competitor, Vettius's strongest gladiator in the street. Little did he know Vettius's backer was the noble leader Tullius. To force the sale of Gannicus, they beat Quintus and humiliated him by urinating on his face. As Quintus vents his rage, a friend arrives with news. Varus, a big shot from Rome, is looking to rent gladiators from Vettius. Gaia has a history with Varus, and aware of his lechery and prurience, sparks a revenge plan in Quintus's mind. He brings out 3 trainee gladiators under the guise of a trial, promising them the gladiator mark if successful. His wife Lucretia and Gaia dress up sexy and flirty, planning to accidentally run into Varus. The unsuspecting Vettius falls for the trap easily, lured into a side alley. When he realizes something's wrong, it's too late. Lying in wait, Ashur and Dangun rush out and quickly dispatch Vettius's servants. Vettius himself gets a savage beating until he passes out. Then Dangun whips it out and pees on his face, returning the humiliation Quintus received. But their job isn't done. To prevent Vettius from retaliating, anyone whose face he sees can't be left alive.
Apologies, brother. Dominus gave instruction.
Meanwhile, Varus, growing impatient waiting for Vettius, is greeted by Gaia and Lucretia instead. Already acquainted with Gaia and charmed by 2 beauties, eager invitation, Varus is soon bewitched and heads to Quintus's mansion. His arrival is about to plunge Gannicus and Oenomaus's wife, Melita, into a whirlpool of shame and pain. Learning that Varus is in Capua to scout excellent gladiators for the wine festival games, Quintus immediately starts boasting about the fierce fighters in his ludus. With Gaia also chimes in with a nudge, fooling Varus's interest instantly. He asks to see a demonstration match. Naturally, the strongest Gannicus is the star, but choosing a worthy opponent puzzles Quintus. Suddenly, Gaia suggests Crixus, clearly impressed by his huge gift she observed in the morning. So Crixus unexpectedly gets this rare chance to shine, making other slaves jealous. But Varus finds wooden swords boring and demands that they should fight with real weapons. Gannicus and Crixus' hearts sink. This means only one of them will survive. Quintus is reluctant, but to please Varus, he has to pretend he doesn't care and agrees. At the signal, Crixus launches a fierce offensive. Gannicus skillfully stagger parries with his dual swords, easily deflecting Crixus' assault. Then Crixus rolls to attack Gannicus' lower body. His moves look swift, but lack strategy, easily exposing weaknesses. Just when everyone thinks Crixus is done for, he suddenly stops attacking and waits for Gannicus to strike, trapping his sword under his arm. This unexpected move catches Gannicus off guard. With losing one sword, he can't fend off Crixus' more intense attacks. But Crixus' lack of real combat experience shows. His eagerness to press his advantage lets Gannicus find an opportunity to reclaim his left-hand sword. Naturally, the battle-hardened Gannicus won't give him a second chance. Though Crixus loses, his fighting skills as a newcomer impress everyone. By custom, the chooser decides the loser's fate, and Crixus' heart leaps to his throat.
Let him live.
He may yet find his youth.
The exciting match doesn't seem to satisfy Varus's appetite. Gaia realizes some special services need to offer. Knowing the noble's peculiar tastes, she instructs Quintus to clean up Gannicus and bring him over. Desperate to seal the deal, Quintus reluctantly complies, ordering Gannicus to fulfill Varus's every desire.
If Varus wishes you to suck his dry, you will savor every drop.
As expected, Varus lavishes praise on every sculpted muscle of Gannicus' body, especially down below.
Are you as skilled in its use as you are with a sword?
Just as Quintus prepares to leave them alone, Varus expresses his preference for watching. Gannicus is just relieved to think his ass is safe, but Varus then assigns Melita to perform with him. Though Melita is Lucretia's personal maid and wife of Gannicus's friend Ionomaus, as slave she has no right to refuse, even if it means betraying her husband. Meanwhile, Ionomaus, oblivious to this and faces his own dilemma. Quintus, honoring his promise to Assur and Danding for their help and revenge, forces the gladiator trainer to brand them. Clinging to his principles, the trainer insists untested men don't deserve the mark, a rule set by Quintus's father, but he's just a slave, after all, and can't disobey his master. Disgusted by the desecration of what he considers a sacred rite, the trainer won't even let Assur and Dangon recite the oath. Ionomaus's attempts to calm him only fuel his rage. Ionomaus is forced to take up the sword and duel with his mentor. While inside the house, Gannicus is ordered by Varus to remove Melita's clothes. He looks to Quintus for mercy, but finds none. As the last hope fades, Melita numbly accepts her fate.
See it done?
Gannicus avoids Melita's eyes, his heart as reluctant as Ionomaus is to harm the trainer. But the trainer attacks relentlessly, even wounding Ionomaus' chest despite others' protests. Fighting for his life, Ionomaus battles the frenzied trainer with all his might. Other slaves watch the senseless bloodshed helplessly, while the nobles shamelessly observe Gannicus and Melita's interaction. Their twisted desires are satisfied, but Gannicus and Melita struggle painfully between shame and unwanted pleasure. Ionomaus battles internally too, but he's backed into a corner. The trainer seems to wait for this moment, allowing Ionomaus' sword to pierce him. Having tainted his lifelong beliefs, his heart was already dead. Perhaps dying by his favorite student's sword is his best end.
I taught you well.
Gannicus and Melita are equally disheartened, having committed an irredeemable act. The grieving Ionomaus seeks comfort from his wife, but Quintus denies him, claiming Melita is attending to guests. He'd never guessed that the two dressing figures are his wife and best friend. Satisfied, Varus agrees to have Gannicus represent him in the upcoming gladiator game. An elated Quintus decides to celebrate with Gaia and Lucretia. Melita silently returns to her room and scrubs herself endlessly, but unable to cleanse her spiritual wounds. Guilt-ridden, she can't tell her husband the truth. While Ionomaus blames himself for killing the trainer, as slaves wallow in sorrow and despair, the slave owners revel in debauchery. This time, Gaia doesn't have to peek. Lucretia generously invites her to join their wild party. The next day, Quintus publicly appoints Ionomaus as the new gladiator trainer, but Ionomaus finds no joy in it. Accepting the whip means forever abandoning his dreams of the arena. Expectations are high for Gannicus, who is about to play again, but he also looked distracted. His encounters with Melita are now fraught with awkwardness, and he can't meet Ionomaus' eyes. Clearly, their friendship can never return to its former purity. Quintus can't contain his excitement about his ludus potentially producing a champion gladiator, largely thanks to Gaia's social finesse.
You could wile the goddess Laverna herself. Your place in this will not pass without much gratitude.
He decides to reward her lavishly, with Lucretia's eager participation. As the three lose themselves in a whirlwind of desires, an old man barges in. Quintus freezes. He never expected his father, supposedly recuperating in Sicily, to return so suddenly.